Hello and welcome back to 15-Minute Reads with Miss J. Tonight we will continue Chapter 1 of MC Higgins the Great, winner of the Newberry Medal, and written by author Virginia Hamilton. Tonight we will continue Chapter 1 in its entirety. The 15-minute timer will still go off, and you're welcome to stop at that time. Be sure to place a little mark if you're reading along so that you'll know where you left off. For those who want to continue, you are welcome to ride this train. But remember, don't ruin it for anybody else. Are we ready? Here we go. MC liked Ben and felt sorry for his being small and alone when he didn't want to be either. He admired Ben because Ben was a witchy. And he knew that Ben thought a lot of him since he was like no other boy and would play with Ben. Tall and powerful, MC didn't mind being by himself, could do anything well. Between them was an unspoken agreement. Ben was never to touch MC with his hands and risk losing his only friend. The problem for both of them was that they couldn't walk a path together for fear MC's father or others might see them. MC would walk the paths and Ben would stalk him, hidden in the trees. That way, they could be together and have no trouble. "I go first," MC suddenly said. He shoved off the branch, swinging out through the ravine. He was carried in a long sweep through the ground fog. In an instant, he appeared shadowy, like a ghost riding lazily on thin air. Vines are fine, he thought lightly. He felt the coolness of mist on his bare arms. But they aren't the best ride. MC reached the far side. Then Ben swung off the branch and rode low through the fog. Just above the stream, he passed MC on the way back. "I got a ticket to ride," MC sang softly as he passed. Ben grinned with pleasure. MC landed on the branch and pushed off at once. Again, he and Ben reached the stream at the same time from opposite directions. "Hi, bro," MC whispered. "Hi, you, MC," Ben whispered back, holding tight to his vine. In slow, ponderous sweeps, they rode back and forth. Their old vines creaked with the strain. The boys swung slowly, and finally, they slowed completely. MC caught up his vine with his foot. When he could reach it with one hand, he twisted it up and around his legs and wrapped it around his waist. He let himself hang there above the stream, with his feet dangling and dragging in the cool water. Ben did the same. They swayed gently around in the stillness. Ben looked just as happy as he could be. MC was feeling pretty good himself, just listening and feeling the depth of silence. He even glanced at Ben's hands. They were small and appeared almost ordinary, except each hand had 6 fingers. Ben had 6 toes on each foot. Folks said all the Kilburn men had toes and hands the same. Eyeing Ben's witchy hands, MC assured himself that the 6 fingers weren't wildly waving and making magic. They were the same as the other 10 holding on to the vine, only they were extra. MC let the sound of the stream become distant. He could hear voices from the Kilburn land nearby, snatches of words, their meanings lost on the mist. Dishes made their scraping noise, chickens clucking and fussing for food. Farther off, he thought he heard the deep cough and hum of machines. Bulldozers working so early? Sound again from the house, a fretful cry of a child. "Where's your daddy now?" MC softly said to Ben. "He's at home," Ben said, "and Uncle Lee and Uncle Joe. No work until tomorrow, but they fill up the ice house by evening time." "Are they going to come across that swinging bridge anytime soon?" MC didn't like running into the Kilburn men. "Not likely before afternoon," Ben said. Then I have to help them. If MC ran into the Kilburn men, his father had warned him never to let them cross his path. And your mama? MC said. Haven't seen her in a while. She at home, Ben said. She was gone most of last night. Getting out the devil? MC said respectfully. He tried to be polite when speaking of Mrs. Kilburn's power. Oh, delivering the baby, Ben said. Oh, MC said. And then, are her greens any good this year? Nothing's any good this year, Ben replied. My daddy says it will get worse with mining going on everywhere. What does mining have to do with your mama's vegetables? MC asked. Ben was silent a moment, as if he didn't want to talk about it. Reluctantly, he said, well, Daddy and Uncle Joe went for miles north and east, following the cool stream, looking for mining cuts. They didn't go to Sarah's Mountain because of what your daddy might do. But wherever else, they lay hands on the cuts. You mean they thought to work magic on the hills? MC stared at Ben in disbelief. If I'm just telling you what they had to do, Ben said, Daddy says it didn't work straight off, but that maybe it will slow the rain down. Naturally, it didn't work, MC said. That's why folks stay clear of your father for doing things like that. He just can't find a way to heal a mountain is all, Ben said, looking at MC. His eyes were anxious and innocent. Shoot, MC said and fell silent. He pictured Ben's father pressing hands on giant gashes made by strip mining, and it just about irritated him to death. He didn't know why. 2 years ago, bulldozers had come to make a cut at the top of the Sarah's Mountain. They began uprooting trees and pushing subsoil in a huge pile to get at the coal. As the pile grew enormous, so had MC's fear of it. He had nightmares in which the heap came tumbling down. Over it buried his family on the side of the mountain. But his dreams hadn't come true. The spoil heap didn't fall. Slowly, his nightmares had ceased and his fear faded within. But then, something would remind him, like the chance to get off the mountainside with the dudes coming. Like Ben's father acting the fool, MC would get edgy in a second. Tell me about the dude again, MC said to hide his irritation. Is it time for him to be coming? Ben asked. Soon time, MC said, and I have to be heading back too, so tell me about him. I already told you, Ben said. I know that, MC said, but I want to hear it one more time before he gets here. Tell me again. Ben sighed. Well, I did just like you said. I asked everybody if they seen him. From here to Harrington, just on the outskirts on this side of town, folks had seen him. He appeared to be heading east toward the river. He's staying close to town, afraid of the hills, I guess. Anyway, I head for the river and I ask everybody, you seen a dude come by here with the tape recorder? And they say, yeah, and laugh their heads off. They've been putting him on just to hear how they sound on the tapes. Say, this song been in my family for 150 years. Do believe them, too, and tape them up good. Tell about how he looked, MC. I haven't even got to see him yet. Well, hurry up. You taking too long, MC said. He was all right, Ben began. I find him sitting on the dock with some men fishing. You could tell him right away he was a dude. Tell it, MC said. Well, he was eating his lunch real careful and slow, like he wasn't that hungry. He looked more tired than hungry and more blue than tired. I guess he finally figured out that folks had been putting him on 150 a year, made up last week. He didn't look like he was very happy about it. Wonder why one made last week ain't no good. Maybe that wasn't it at all, MC said. Maybe what he got wasn't any good. Maybe, Ben said. Anyhow, here's the part you're waiting for. He had on some of the prettiest boots I ever did see. A real baby soft leather, man, and shining like 2 black stars. And the hat too. Was it leather? MC asked. The hat was suede, Ben said, and the jacket was suede too. And the pants must have cost more than $30. They sat above the stream in awed silence, with great still trees leaning near. Finally, Ben broke the quiet. I told him all about your mama. Not one bit. He'll come over, as excited as he was. What will you say to him? Not much at first, MC said. Seems like I've been waiting forever for him to come. So I might as well wait to see what he'll offer. He grinned. And if he's really going to do something for Mama, I'll ask for some money. You know, just enough for us to pack up with some new clothes so we can travel out of here. You really believe he's going to make your mama a star? Ben asked. He saw MC stiffen. Quickly, Ben added, Sure, we'll hate to see you leave. Uncomfortably, he looked away from MC. I'll come back. Maybe, MC said kindly. See if you still swinging. He laughed softly. Is your daddy going to want to leave the mountain? Ben asked him. Why does the drum inside? What, all by herself, huh? I was just asking, Ben said. Shh, talk so loud. You have to get out from under the spoil heap. You think some? He let off a phrase at MC again. I'm wasting my time, MC said. Have to get out of here. He loosened the vine around him, pumping his body slightly. He slid to the ground next to the stream. Why can't you stay? Ben said. MC sighed. You know why. Ben never wanted him to leave, because the dude might already be at home. Well, I'll walk you part way, Ben offered. Suit yourself, MC said, but we'd better say so long here in case we run into somebody. Although they were only a few feet apart, MC raised his hand in a wave. Bye, Ben said. Keep yourself cool, you hear? MC told him. Ben sat dangling above the stream, odd-looking and shriveled, festering on the vine. Ben, I'll be back late on Wednesday. Maybe I'll see you before that, Ben said. Okay. MC turned for the ancient place and of mist. He scrambled up the steep side of the ravine as fast as he could go. At the top, he stopped to look down. There was Ben coming toward the side, ready to climb. MC pushed through the weeds into the woods. In less than 5 minutes, Ben was somewhere off the path, stalking MC from behind. The thought that Ben was near but unseen was all right with MC. Although MC was still edgy, he felt his senses become heightened with minute sight and sound. Where he moved and saw, Ben was moving backward. He's my spirit, MC thought. Good old spirit. Only a few miles from Ohio River, they were in country where once, no more than 10 years ago, there had been elk and deer. It was still deep country where people liked nothing home. Boys MC's age endured out of Harrington, with twitching hands and no pine beetles to touch hang from. Class tongue-tied, they thought themselves stupid. Their teachers, they endured all, until time began, ingenious in the woods. Hills were crisscrossed with footpaths. A hunter like MC could distinguish the telltale signs of trails. Paths go, such as wee woman, high and mighty. There were still some odd, nutted wagon roads, which dead at blinds and began anew up steep hill slopes. Seams had been broadened and flattened by heavy machines. No one, MC knew, walked the roads. As always, MC's path. It ran the length of the plateau shouldered by hills, with Kills Mountain at the other inclines. MC had no sweeping view any direction ahead of him, and he could serve. They scattered throughout the plateau, but the pay from them. To reach a house hidden, MC would have had to take paths branching off from Sarah's eye. He birds singing, some duck. It's 15-minute timer for those of you. Let's keep it moving. When Bob White's sang in the morning, it meant rain to come. He heard the drone of katydids rise out in his head. In his ears, gnats whined. MC, Ben's voice light as if he had spoken within MC's mind. There's somebody. So near him, off the MC was startled. Someone was ahead of MC on Sarah's high, probably some woman going into town. He knew everybody within a square mile of Sarah's mountain. He knew them by sight, if not to say more than good morning. MC studied the figure, but she didn't move with any kind of ease. It's not anyone, so he could move silently on his toes. He knew Ben would be doing the same thing. Think it's Mary. Willis people Sarah's mountain. Mary was one of the daughters and not much older than MC. She was strong as any boy, and she would slap you for looking at her. Mary had that was black, shiny, and almost straight. Some Indian blood, MC's mother had told that long hair hold all of her strength. You just see how weak she is if you twist her hair around. MC grinned again. Mary Willis was as strong as a horse. He knew because thinking she had no strength, he had caught her once on a path. Coming up noiselessly behind her, the way he knew how to stalk, grabbed her arms. He thought she was just, you let me go, right from her cheek. Leaning around her pretty hair, he'd almost made it. Mary Willis broke his grasp and hit him with her fist. Made my nose bleed a minute too, MC remembered. He was now within 10 feet of the figure ahead of him. Catch her again. But it wasn't Mary. He knew in a moment. The one ahead of him didn't look like anyone from the hills. She carried a bundle. It was round, kind of green cloth sack on rope, fixed with slip knots on her back. She moved warily, glancing to either side of the path. A stranger. MC stalked expertly, tense with a hunter's joy of discovery. Strangers didn't often come into these hills alone. When they did come, they took pictures of hills and houses, even of weeds and rocks. To MC's amazement, they'd pick anything that bloomed, even when it was poison. And usually they ended up by getting themselves lost. Once some of them had come up Sarah's mountain to get a view. They'd asked for water, but seeing Jones, MC's father, they had backed off. I got some water, MC thought. So what did they do? They had watched Jones. They came near to smooth water over their necks and faces, but they wouldn't drink. Smiling and nodding at MC, quickly they had gone down the mountainside. MC never did figure out whether they feared well water or his father. The girl on the path ahead of him now wasn't one of them. He could see her dark skin showing beneath a light blue shirt. Close enough for her to hear him. Low whistle, knowing he was wrong to scare her. He had a loud, screaming whistle through his teeth and whistled at girls every day. She kept on walking. He got back to adjust the bundle on her back. Turning sideways but not missing a stride, she gave MC a look that slowed him down. She would say, let alone hit him. He had touchlets when suddenly she walked into the trees. MC listened. By the quickening swish, swish of pine, he knew and broke into a run. Ben must have been standing as still as something with eyes. MC had to smile. Wouldn't I've hurt you? He called. When he could no longer hear any sound of her running, he continued on, trying what the girl had looked like. She wasn't tall, that he could remember, but he was impression. Just her eyes, MC thought. Dark and slow. He felt more than a momentary interest in her, but not much of an image of her on which to play his. In his rush to get home, he let her slip away out of his thoughts. Just some stranger. It was probably 8 o'clock. The dude would have been on his way. The path dipped off the plateau and ended at what had once been a wagon roadbed reaching all the way around the base of Sarah's mountain to its far side. It was a gully formed in years past by rainwater running off the mountain into a barren place edged with trees. MC stood feeling heat rise from the bald earth of the gully. He looked in of him, stopped there, and was turning around now, ready to trot home. "See you, Ben," he said to himself. Ben answered in his thoughts, "See you." MC into it. To his right, a great swell of earth rising to outline the sky, light green by morning sun and mist. Halfway up was the ledge of rock with the rest of his family. The whole outcropping was partially hidden by trees. Only would see a house at all. Near the house, something was shining. MC caught a blinding gleam light of the gully and onto a path that rose steeply up the face of the mountain, holding onto trees and sometimes nearly cut his way. There was an easier path beginning farther along the lip of the gully, but MC was in too much of a hurry to take it. He panted and grunted with the effort of his climb. He paused to look and was rewarded by a sharp flash of light. "I got a ticket to ride," he gasped. "I got a ticket to ride." The path veered closer to the cropping, where there was undergrowth of sweet briar. It cut through the tangled prickly mass of the briar and brought MC out onto the cropping. The ledge he stood on was like a huge sticking and rose another 100 feet to the summit. Just below the summit was a gash like a road all the way across. It had a 70-foot vertical wall, hauling out tons of soil to get at the coal seam. And up there was something like an enormous black boil of uprooted trees and earth plastered together by rain, by all kinds of weather. Some internal balance kept the thing hanging suspended on the mountainside, far above the outcropping, in a half-congealed spoil heap bigger than MC's house. At home, finally, he saw that the house was shut tight. His mother, his father, both gone to work. The kids on their way to swim. One side of the house to the rear was smack up against the mountain where the ledge curved around it. On the other side of the house was a great prize like another. It was always his shining beacon. Pretty thing, you. He had won it. Practicing on the Ohio River, testing his strength against strong currents every day for weeks. He had known when he was ready. "I wasn't scared. I did it, and I never want to do it again. I won't ever have to." Jones said, "I saw it was clear all over town, in front of the post office, the police station. His prize was a pole. It was 40 feet of glistening cold steel, the best kind of ride." MC gazed up at its sparkling height. There was a bicycle seat fixed at the top. He had put it there himself and had attached pedals and 2 tricycle wheels below it on either side. He didn't know how his father had got the pole without money. Jones had let him deep foot the pole in the midst of the piles of junk in their yard. There were automobile tires, fenders, car bodies that Jones had dragged up the mountain over the years. But Jones had long since forgotten about putting together a car. Wonder why he won't ever throw away that junk, MC thought. How did he get that pole? Probably the same way he got the junk. Maybe he just took it. Maybe it had been abandoned, like the cars, or perhaps it had been given to Jones out of the rolling mill in the street yard at Harrington. 10 feet too tall, it could have a flaw somewhere, a weak structure from unseen firing. Looks just fine from here, MC thought. He stood there studying his pole, admiring its black and blue tint in the sun. It was the one thing that could make him feel peaceful inside every time he saw it. Gingerly, MC climbed up on the car junk. He leaned over and gripped the pole. "Let's go for a ride." He dried his sweating palms on his shirt. Then he jumped off the pile, and twisting his legs around, he climbed the slippery, smooth steel the way only he knew how. Thank you for joining us through one. Remember, ahead, don't spoil it for anyone else. Tune in to Beginner 2 of MC Higgins the Great. 5th Minute Reads with Miss J.